Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I am here with Scott. Scott, how we doing?
I'm looking at the backside of your cat. That's a
Jesus
great
Christ.
start.
Schroeder, please get down. Thank you. Um,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. So, we are going to get to the football. We've been gone for a couple weeks here. We'll be gone for a couple weeks because one, I was sick 2 weeks ago. Really sick. Like I even called out of work, which I rarely ever do, and I don't even say that as like a boast or anything because sucking up to capitalism isn't really my thing. Also, I work in a hotel, so I can't go if I'm sick anyhow, right? But that's how sick I was. And then last week, Megan was sick. Her grandfather was sick. We were staying at his house. It was just crazy. So I do want to start here with a bit of a rant. And I was talking to my therapist about this actually. So before you tell me to seek help, please know I already am. When we decide to have the holiday season makes no sense now. We should not have this holiday at this time of year anymore. The giant everybody go home, get together with the family holiday should not happen around the winter solstice. It doesn't make any sense. It made sense when they started, when everybody was a farmer and they all lived in the same village and there was nothing to do during the winter except for sit around because they already planted, everything was dead. You didn't have to harvest anything yet. And then it's the shortest day of the year. So you have to have a celebration around the solstice, right? Saturnalia, then they put Christmas there. Like it made sense. But for modern society, it makes no sense. We know this is when disease spreads like crazy. So we're having everybody travel. Also, if you live in a place with snow and ice, it's dangerous to travel during this time. So Western Europe, the Northern United States, horrible to travel this time of year. For businesses and schools, they're in session. It's the end of the year. Like for the calendar, doesn't make any sense. If we wanted to have this holiday in the United States, we should make it July 4th. That would be the day to have everybody show up, everybody go home. All the kids are out of school. It's safe to travel. If you live in the north, you can do activities outside, right? That would be the time to have this holiday. People could still celebrate Christmas if they want to, get together with their local families, that sort of thing. But the big everyday holiday needs to be moved to the summertime. The actual date that I would pick is June 26th. It is close to the summer solstice. It is between Juneteenth and July 4th. And I believe it's the official birthday for the monarch in England. Scott, thoughts?
I don't think you're going to get a lot of happiness about the Juneteenth thing. I think we already know that.
I'm just saying for picking a reasonable summer date, I just think June 26th, we can get the states in England on board fastest. And then from there, it might split, right? But the idea of having everybody travel and get together during the ice and flu season and busy
it
work
sounds
time
like you're committing a war on
nonsense.
Christmas. That's what it sounds like.
People should.
I'm jesting.
I was gonna say because like people should still celebrate Christmas. It should just be more in line with Easter. Like it's a local thing. Nobody expects you to travel home for Easter necessarily, right? It's just a more local to do. You still give some gifts on Christmas to the local kids in your life, but we all bring gifts to kids from far away for the summer holiday. It just, we pick this time of year to have these holidays because it made sense for society thousands of years ago. Society has changed.
It's tradition. It's just we do things out of traditional things, right? Like that's
right. But what
do.
matters is what we do, not when we do it. Everything about the thing we could put up the trees and whatever if you really wanted to. Still, like we could write carols. We could do whatever you want. Like let it snow doesn't apply to Christmas in Dallas. It doesn't snow everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. And this is an example of thing to where if this is a very simple, reasonable thing that we could all easily as a people come together and do.
That's where the whole thing. It's totally logical what you're saying, but the concept that we're coming together to do anything, to agree on anything, is not happening. It's just not. Just not. Have you seen the news the last couple of days? Paying attention at all to the Minnesota stuff, and like
No, I don't. I don't know unless you're talking about funny memes of JJ McCarthy's face replacing other quarterbacks so they play bad.
No, there's this fraud stuff going on in the state of Minnesota, that some people believe is a new thing that has been completely glossed over, and that the governor of Minnesota has let happen and all these things, and it's like no, but there's a reason. There's a reason for it. And it's
right
because
and there's a reason
Somalia.
I haven't heard about it yet because it's all nonsense bullshit. So it doesn't hit my feed because I don't get
Well,
bullshit.
it depends on where you get your news from. But that's part of the argument is that some people believe that no news sources have covered this because they're complicit. And it's Somalians in Minnesota who are committing fraud. Well,
right.
Okay, so right, like the whole story there and why this is a thing, and then you have the owner of Twitter, pushing this thing on algorithm or X, whatever, and it's like it's become a very large story the last couple of days. But there's other stories that are currently happening that are large stories. So,
yes, I didn't realize that there were so many Somalians in the files.
Exactly, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So nobody.
Also, what's interesting? My entire time back home with a bunch of Republican people, not a single one of them brought up the files. After talking about nonstop during the campaign, not a single one of them brought them up.
Yeah. Why would they?
Yeah, just interesting how that works. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm sure there are people defrauding every single sort of government handout
fraud's
system that
bad.
there
We
is.
can all agree that fraud's ridiculous. It's a terrible thing, right?
I don't agree morally that all crimes are bad.
I didn't say morally. It's just the concept.
I would prefer that we had a society to where I do wish we had a society where nobody had to commit fraud for any reason whatsoever, or steal anything for any reason whatsoever, or walk up on healthcare CEOs. I do wish we had a society where nobody had to do anything like that. However, I am much more concerned about giant corporations defrauding the government and consumers and their employees. And it's just interesting how little the people who care about the Somalian fraud care about that sort of fraud, even though it's on a much larger scale and impacts them more directly.
Yeah, I mean, you look. There's a guy named Philippus Formas who Trump commuted his sentence in 2020. I think it was in 2020. He defrauded the government out of $1.3 billion as part of a Medicare scam in, I want to say old folks' homes. Mm-hmm. Trump commuted his 20 or 25-year sentence. Rick Scott's the senator from the state of Florida. He had to pay a fine for committing fraud against Medicare. Like, it's the concept of white collar fraud's cool, because we see it at such a large level.
Yep.
And we ignore all those things.
And of course, Metformis and Scott are very traditional Somalian names.
Sure. Of course.
Look at me. I'm the fraudster now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, again, neither you or I would ever argue that committing fraud and stealing taxpayer money is even remotely a good thing. Like, we're not saying that, but there's a tendency that because of some of the stuff that's in the news and some of the things that are happening, that of course I mean, it reminds me of the whole they're eating the cats and dogs story from the election cycle. It's the same stuff. You got to pick on the people that confirm your priors, right? You're telling on yourself if that's what you really think, but
do you think Donald Trump knows that there's a difference between Haitians and Somalians?
I have no idea what it.
I'm not
answering that question.
Do you think Donald Trump could identify Haiti and Somalia on a map, borders drawn but no names?
I would say probably not, because because I would like to think that I could, but I don't know if I could, if that makes sense. So I don't want to accuse somebody else of doing something that hey, I'm not offended by anything. I just think
I don't think it's going to offend anybody around here.
I've been examining my own hypocrisy around the whole political stuff, all the stuff that goes on. And we've talked about this for a long time, Dave. I still, I fret about this inability for our society that is so divided. I think all the time about what can we do to sort of come back together as a people. And some of that is examining your own stuff, right? Wow. I am not a January 6er. Knock it off.
I think one of the hardest things about this is that it's very difficult for those of us from the West, but especially the very powerful nations in the West, to confront the fact that our nations, either historically or currently or both, are the bad guys. And there's a hesitancy in many places to do that. However, I think there's less hesitancy in the United States because some people that still live here are living here because of the bad guyness, right? And so it's a lot easier for a lot of us to be like, why am I not from Togo or Nigeria or Ghana, right? Like, why am I from Michigan?
Yeah.
Right. It's not for any good reasons. So then it's easy for me to look at things like what happened in the Philippines or Hiroshima and be like immoral for A, B, C, D, and E, and it wasn't good and it wasn't okay in terms of the Japanese. And to do that while still also being thankful and grateful for being from the United States and not from North Korea or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people really struggle with that, and they confuse criticizing your government and its decisions with criticizing the core, like, culture and nature of the people that live there.
Yeah.
That's just not the case. Like, I'm sure the vast majority of people who live in Russia are perfectly fine, upstanding, wonderful people. I would like them if I met them. And Vladimir Putin can go kick rocks. He's a horrible person, and the Russian government for literally the last 400 years or so has been horrible, right? We can talk about Vladimir Putin, and nobody thinks we're denigrating all Russians.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when it comes to the United States, somewhat, in Israel especially, if you start denigrating the governments, people start thinking you're talking about the people, the culture, the religions, or whatever. And it's just not the case. But I think that's why we end up with this division, is that people have a hard time being able to be honest about, like, if for every single person on Earth to have the standard of living of the average American, we would need the resources of 9 Earths. One, that's obviously impossible. That means that all of us who live in America, who live above that average line, we are exploiting, like 9 people, basically. Not 9 people, but 9 Earths worth of our own resources in order to do that. But also, how and why do we get to live this way is not good. And be able to, and I think a lot of people have a hard time reconciling the fact that we live, relatively speaking, these charmed, glorious existences at the expense of others, and that to acknowledge that fact is, like, personally painful. Like, we just can't. Like, we can't. It's like fans of a celebrity who don't want to admit that the celebrity did something really bad.
Yeah.
Because it's such a huge fan. Instead of just trying to see, like, well, how can we just acknowledge this and try to make the world a better place in general? And I think that's the reason for the division. And it's so easy here in the States for us to be like, man, America, what we did in Chile was horrible. But somebody's like, you can't talk, we spread democracy.
No, I mean, I get all that stuff. It's like, it feels like the division. That's a great comment. I'll work on it. It just, the divide and is like when stuff like this week happens, where some of this stuff happens, and it's like, so we're focusing on fraud, cool, but you're ignoring everything that happens on one specific side of things. I mean, even at the presidential level, right? And that's cool. It's okay. That part is just, I struggle with it. I mean, I just do, like, the cult side of it, where it's just like, there is absolutely nothing you can say and I'm talking about some of my friends, people I've known for 50 years. There's nothing that I can say to get through. I just, and again, I mean, you gotta own your own stuff, right? But in this example, I'm talking about just fraud generally, and how upset they are over Somalians in Minnesota while ignoring every other kind of fraud that happens, specifically, where our president has pardoned and commuted sentences and all these other things of people who have committed large scale fraud. It just blows my mind, and that's a me problem, though. That the fact that I can still have my mind blown by how blindly loyal to one side or the other some of us are on. I guess that's where, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is that when it comes to things like this Minnesota thing, without even knowing a ton of the details, because again, I haven't really seen it that much, but roughly 60 to 63% of the population in America is still white. And as a rate, there are more white people on welfare than anybody else. Obviously, in sheer numbers, because there's more of more of them.
Yeah.
But also, as a rate, there's more, which means that either the majority of the fraud being committed is going to also be by white people, or like, what is wrong with these white people that they can't figure out how to commit the fraud? Right. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you have to think about it, it's like, well, obviously, if this crime, it's like people selling weed. Like, why are there more black people and Latino people in jail for selling drugs? White people love drugs. Like, obviously, there's a ton of white drug dealers out there, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this is disproportionate to one group of people. It would even be like, oh, this is a Somalia problem. It's like, well, no, obviously, this is a problem with people needing to get money, sort of situation. There's a great TikTok I saw. I do not remember who it was, but it was a young black woman, and she said, "I'll date a white man, but I won't date a broke white man, even though I'll date a broke man of any other race." And it's because you have bad genes. Because while all the white people were stealing, what were your ancestors doing?
Wow. Okay.
And it's kind of the same thing here. Like, either the white people who need the welfare are committing fraud at the same rate as the Somalians and everybody else, or what are you doing? Like, why can't you figure out to do this as well?
Yeah.
Although I'm sure they have, like, I'm sure it's the same across the board, like it is for like every single type of crime that there is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah. Check it out. You'll be blown away by the story, because once you start
it sounds
to look into it.
It sounds exceedingly stupid. And of course, it's Minnesota, it's Somalians. Ilhan Omar represents from Minneapolis there. Like, I mean, obviously, I can put together why it's such a big deal
so you
to the biggest losers on the planet.
It would confirm a person's pre-existing bias, right? Or pre-existing whatever thoughts.
Well, I can't see that because of the neurodivergence. Like, I cannot see how that would confirm somebody's priors, because it shouldn't. But I can intellectually understand why I see, if you say simple-minded, it sounds like a condescending insult. And in the case of those people, I mean it to be, but I don't mean it to be across the board. But I can see why others would see something like that and only be able to think it like level 1 and think it does confirm their priors.
Yeah. Right, but we all got to kind of think about the things where we're at our own level 1 in some of these things, like, and we are in some ways. We all are.
Yes, but the trick is, because obviously nobody can know everything, the trick is to be aware of your own shortcomings, your own ignorances.
Yeah.
So for example, I don't know very much about automobiles, like how to fix them or anything. I don't know much about them at all. It's not an interest of mine. I don't really care. I just want my car to get me from A to B. So I can do like basic stuff like, no, I need to get the oil changed. I can inflate the tires, I can do stuff like that. But anything beyond that, I have no idea. And so I know I need to rely on other people who know more in order to help me.
Yeah.
And I find the ones who I know, who other people trust as well. And then I trust what they say. and I will use one or the other to double check with the other to make sure everything's fine.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of folks who like Donald Trump is that they are either not aware of or refuse to acknowledge their own ignorances. So when you talk to them, you're like, these people don't know ball about shit.
Yeah.
It's just an army of Colin Cowherds. I mean, they just have no idea about anything that they're talking about. And they either don't know it or won't acknowledge it or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, it makes it, like you said, makes it impossible to talk to folks like that because, you know, I'm trying to talk to folks at the holidays about some stuff, and I'm like, I can't. I might as well be talking to the dog.
Yeah. 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 And you know, like how there's going to come a point in time when we're all going to have to sort of figure this out together. And I don't know.
That time already passed, and we should have executed every single officer and higher ranking official involved in the Confederacy and stripped the South of electoral votes for at least 20 years after the Civil War.
But that's in the past. We can't do anything about that.
Well, it's funny how the past sort of hangs around if you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The past stays the present if you don't move past it. Yeah. And that was the chance. Also, Gerald Ford could have thrown Richard Nixon in jail. That also would have helped. I will say that was less obvious than hanging Robert E. Lee, which, like, obviously. Like, could you imagine if Emperor Palpatine was just like, okay, everybody go back to your jobs and politics? You know, like it would never happen. It's insane. It's an insane thing to think. So yes, that was the chance. So we're still dealing with it because the South lost the war, but they won the cultural battle, and we're still fighting it to this day.
Yeah.
Speaking of the South losing the war but winning the battles, the Cowboys 30, Commanders 23.
To football.
So my note on this game is that it doesn't matter.
Moving on.
Lions 10, Vikings 23.
Amazingly, sadly, it doesn't matter.
Sadly, my note on this game is that it doesn't matter. Although if the Lions lose this week, they will lock in the 4th place schedule for next year, which I think gets them the Giants, Cardinals, and Titans as their 4th place opponents. And as we're seeing from the 49ers this year, going that 1st to 4th to maybe 3rd, but like they're really good. It's mostly schedule related. I would like that for the Lions next year. So I do actually want the Lions to lose to the Bears this week to kind of lock that in because I think the Lions will still be good next year.
Oh, I think that's likely to happen.
Yeah. Broncos 20, Chiefs 13. The Broncos win the AFC West. Clev is not here tonight, but I wanted to ask him if anyone predicted this before the season.
I think we know somebody who did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, going back to the Lions, you predicted that the Lions were not going to make the playoffs.
I did.
You did. And that's an amazing prediction. Like, that's one of the things I told my dad when I was texting with you a week ago. Like, he's like, I don't know anybody who thought that was going to happen. Well, Dad, you know.
Yeah. And it's on wax. We can find it. We can put it out there. Yeah. However, I did also think the Vikings were going to win the division. So you win some, you lose some.
You're 1 for 2.
Well, but the Bears won. So I guess the point really was that, like, the Lions won't make the playoffs, but it won't because the Packers win the division.
Yeah.
So I'll call it 1.5 and 1, basically. The Chiefs started something called Chris Aladakun. I have no idea who or what that is. But yeah, Broncos win the West. They could still win the 1st overall seed this week. So great season for them.
Yeah.
First game that really matters. Texans 20, Chargers 16. Both these teams are in the playoffs, but this game's going to matter a lot for seeding. The Texans stay alive to win the AFC South and host the playoff game with this win. The Chargers now are dead and could not fall into the 7 seed, which would mean having to go most likely to Denver.
Well, they would get who would be the 2 seed? They would have to go to New England, maybe.
New England's probably going to be the 1 seed.
Oh, do you think New England's going to be the 1 seed?
Hang on, I have something here. I was going to bring this up later in the show, but
doesn't Denver win the 1 seed if they win Sunday?
Yes, you are correct. Denver wins if they win. Patriots can still get it with the win and a Denver loss.
Right.
So it's probably New England then. But either way, the Chargers needed to be sure to try to get the matchup with the AFC South winner or the AFC North winner. The North winner because they're better than them, the South winner for weather.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I think the Chargers could win a game in bad weather in the playoffs, but not more than that. So you don't have to go like two Kansas City, wow, two New England, and then two Denver, and then two Pittsburgh. You know, that's asking a lot. So
yeah.
You want to get that to Jacksonville first, even though do the Chargers have any history against the Jags in the playoffs in Jacksonville? Is anything happened
I don't know
there?
anything about it. I'm not getting involved because I don't want Liam.
Yeah.
I don't want Liam knocking on the front door. Hey, you're fired.
Oh no, his ears were on fire.
Oh no!
Shout out to Liam. Congratulations, the Chargers making the playoffs. And you know what? I hope you guys make the AFC title game. Actually, I kind of hope you guys make the Super Bowl because it would be amazing. However, if you have to play 2 road cold weather games, I don't think you can get it done twice. The Chargers aren't quite built for that yet.
Well, just missing both their tackles. It's just long-term problematic. I mean, Justin Herbert's a dude, but like, how far is he going to be able to carry them? You know, but I'm rooting for them. That's my team for the playoffs this year. Oh, this kid's such a punk.
Oh man!
Just so everybody knows, he's cooler than I've ever been. He's what is he like 4 or 12 or whatever?
Yeah, I think he's 12 or 13. But
he's cooler than I've ever been or ever will be already at this age, and he knows it, which is a problem.
Scott, do me a favor. Hold up the logo on your shirt real quick. Liam, you're welcome for your coach and every success and every happy football member you have going forward. Don't forget, it's because of Ann Arbor and it's because of us. So, just like the Patriots, say thank you to Ann Arbor because it's us sharing our greatness with you that will allow you to have your success.
Long term too.
Yeah. Paul with the good point here. Chargers making the playoffs without their right tackle, left tackle is pretty amazing. Their coach can coach.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that infuriated me so much with the Connor Stallion stuff. It's like, 1, why are you even doing this? Like, how much of an edge can possibly give you? And 2, like, the coach, like Jim Harbaugh can coach ball. You know, this is not the thing. So,
it's not like they don't have talent outside the 2 tackle spots either. You know what I mean? Like they have that defense is loaded.
Yeah. But Joe,
the game they played against Kansas City was awesome. Just how physical their secondary was. Like Rashee Rice was coming across the middle, like in that game repeatedly, and the Chargers defensive backs were just trying to take his head off. You know, like so that's I think a little bit of the Harbaugh stuff where like we're intentional about what we do. We're going to be physical. We're going to be a pain in the ass to play against. It's going to be difficult. That's playoff kind of football.
But somebody like Joe Alt was built in a lab to win a January game in Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like that is one of the main reasons you get somebody like that. So to not have him, it will catch up with them here in the playoffs, unless they only have to do one of those. Right? If they could somehow play at Jacksonville, at Baltimore, and then at home somehow, or something like that.
Well, if they're the
then maybe they could
seed,
do it.
If they're the 7th seed, they're going to likely New England in round 1.
And then it's the low seed. They'd have to go to Denver.
Then they'd be going to Denver. So their only path is to play 2 just horrific matchups.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that
1 and 2.
I mean, I do think Jacksonville can win the Super Bowl this year. I don't think it's likely. I think they're a team that can do it, but it's most likely that Jacksonville and Houston will both be out. So then they're going to the winner of the AFC North if they keep pulling out these upsets.
Yeah.
Or Buffalo. Like, okay, so you have to go to New England, to Denver, to Buffalo.
Good luck.
And you're Los Angeles. Yeah, it's going to be a hard path for them.
Is Buffalo going to really get lucky enough to get the Pittsburgh-Baltimore winner in round 1?
It doesn't matter. Buffalo's already insanely lucky that the Chiefs aren't in this. And the Bengals aren't in it. Because they Burrow and Mahomes are the teams they can't beat. Yeah. So they're already super lucky with everything that's been happening here. So they can't blame luck for anything else going forward. They got a great run out here. Ravens 41, Packers 24. Derrick Henry 36 carries, 216 yards, 4 touchdowns, despite there being no Lamar. Scott, I think Micah Parsons is important to the defense.
A little bit. I think he is. There is some interesting stuff happening with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, and I don't know if it's long-term good for their togetherness. Let's just put it that way. I think he's got like a $74 million cap hit next year. And I want to say they have struggled. I think correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they stop negotiating when the season began this year?
Mm-hmm.
So
remember 2 years ago, 2 years ago, they like let him test the market. So traded 3 first-round picks for him that nobody did. I think it was only 2 years ago. So that happened.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some sort of impasse there that just makes me wonder about whether he's going to stay. Because this whole year's been really weird with that. I know he's been banged up and stuff, but man, it's bizarre, everything that's gone on there. Yeah, and then he doesn't play, and Derrick Henry just goes bananas.
But you know what this is setting up for like Noah's perfect thing? This is the year they win. Like all these like 12-4 seasons where the number 1 overall seed and they lose to the Titans and whatever. And then it's the 1 year like nobody's getting along. It's like the Eagles last year. Nobody's getting along.
Yep.
Everybody hates everybody. Oh, we just won.
Yeah. Winning cures everything.
The Packers are going to the playoffs, but even more so than the Chargers, missing Micah Parsons, I do not see this being a team that can really threaten anything. A game. They can win a game, but I don't see them doing more than that.
Yeah, I mean, did you watch him? I mean, I know you were traveling and stuff, but the Malik Willis stuff is fascinating. What their offense looks like, as opposed to because of his ability to run and damage teams that way. But he was phenomenal last week.
Saw a tweet that said that the 3-year, $66 million deal the Jets give Malik Willis is going to hit like crack.
I think you shared it with us. Oh yeah.
In fact, I think Cleve's response was, "I'd be okay with it."
Yes,
which is one of the darkest, saddest things I've ever heard a fan of a team say.
And I could see them doing it because it's the kind of quarterback that Aaron Glenn's defenses cannot handle. Yes. They just can't stop those guys. So I could see them thinking that.
Yeah. Liam asked, so have we talked about it yet? Who do we have winning the NFC South? We have not talked about it yet. However, Bucks 17, Dolphins 20. Absolute embarrassment for the Bucks. I mean, the Dolphins are like, why? Like, how do you lose this game? Well, you win this game, I think you win the division, and instead they just lose to Miami. Can only put up 17 points despite having Mike Evans back. Absolute embarrassment for Tampa.
Yeah, things are going poorly there right now. Baker's hurt, and a hurt Baker Mayfield is a very different experience than what we've seen the last couple of years with him. He looks a lot like the way he looked when he played for Cleveland and when he was trying to play through injuries. And it's just, he's one of those guys. He's a warrior, but you gotta, I think that there are times when you gotta protect those guys from themselves. And he has not played good at really important times the last month. Fascinating game this week.
Great stat here from Jake. The Chiefs and Broncos have won the AFC West every season since 2010. Liam was born in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in 3rd grade when the Packers acquired Brett Favre, and I was 40 years old when Aaron Rodgers left.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It's so annoying.
And then they draft Jordan Love, and you just know what's coming. Like, come on, man.
And even then, he's not a miss. Like, they need like 5 Josh Rosens in a row. That's what would be the karmic thing here.
Yeah.
Pats 42, Jets 10. Scott, do you want to say what I'm about to say here? Can you even guess what I'm about to say about the Patriots?
Wholeheartedly, yes, I do.
Drake May is the MVP.
I'm going to agree with whatever comes out of your mouth.
Drake May is the MVP.
Yes. Yes.
In his second year.
Yeah. And he still blows. He's terrible.
Next thing I know, Scott's going to come on the show. Scott's going to come on the show next week and be like, "You won't believe this. Drake May is committing Medicare fraud in Minnesota."
It's unbelievable. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So Scott, who is correct on about 91% of his college prospect evaluations, not dead on. Nobody's like exactly right, but like you're within a reasonable range around your assessment. I would say about 90% of the time. But man, when you miss, you really miss. And Drake May was a huge miss. I mean, this was a big one, the biggest since Josh Allen.
Not the biggest one for me, likely, but like, there are still things like, okay, a person can look at the college stuff and say, this is the stuff that quarterback A does that's very problematic for NFL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when quarterback fixes a bunch of that stuff in year 2 and doesn't like show any of that stuff, you could say, wow, he's really grown as a player, but I didn't see that coming this soon. Yeah. And it is the Josh Allen thing, because Josh Allen was horrifically inaccurate at Wyoming. Paul. Okay. Moving on. That's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah. Drake May with 5 touchdowns in this game. By the way, I had a fantasy football, a best ball team in the finals. $10,000 to first place, 124 people. And on this team, I had Drake May in his 5 touchdowns, Derrick Henry in his 4 touchdowns, and I barely more than min cash because my RB2 was Brian Robinson.
Oops.
Yeah, Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, DJ Giddens, Jarquez Hunter.
You just needed one dude to show up.
I just needed one anything. Had Puka on it. Just needed one more of these other guys to do literally anything. But no dice. But yeah, had the Drake May 5 touchdowns on there. Yeah, 0 RB, keeping it real. Keeping it very real. Steelers 6, Browns 13. My first note here is LMAO, exclamation marks.
What are we doing in Cleveland?
Well, yeah, Cleveland, who's like actively trying to lose top to bottom as a franchise.
Yeah.
Wins this game. The Steelers win, and they win the division, and they're in the playoffs. They can rest everybody next week because they're locked into the 4 seed. They can give their 9,000-year-old quarterback a week off. Instead, they are now in a must-win game without DK Anthony Joshua Metcalf because he's suspended.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get more than 13 points against the Browns.
Yeah, they played that game completely paralyzed by Myles Garrett. And him, like, they seemed like they were more concerned about him breaking that record than they were about winning that game.
Yes, and that is why
to me seems a little weird, but
that's why, to me, like, as I was listening to this game, driving back from Michigan, watching Red Zone, but I was driving at this point, so I was listening over the speakers. I didn't realize that Garrett hadn't broken the record in this game.
Yeah.
But I think we should credit him with it because you're right. Like, they only scored 6 points because of Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't get a sack in this game, he's the player of the game. The game revolved around him.
He impacted it so much. Oh, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So, what this shows me is that just like every other year, Pittsburgh is not a serious team here. If they win against Baltimore, they're going to get destroyed. If not the first round, they beat some jamoke in Pittsburgh, right? But then they're going to go on the road and lose by 21 and be like another bye for whoever they play. Let's just get Baltimore in there. Like,
so they're going to be the 4 seed, correct?
Yes.
So they're going to have to play maybe Houston?
They're going to play Houston, Buffalo, or the Chargers.
Yeah, good luck. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so let's get Baltimore in there. They can at least the Lamar versus Josh Allen thing would be exciting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just don't want. I just feel like the Steelers here, if they're not an auto buy in the first round, they would be if they made it to the second round.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it much more competitive. That's let Baltimore through in that game. Jags 23, Colts 10. Jacksonville is 12-4, but still needs to lock up the AFC South next week, which is an insane thing to say.
Yeah, it really is. And how is
12
Indy
wins
not in the
hasn't done it.
playoffs? Like it's amazing the back half of the season what's happening.
Yeah, they've been playing lights out. Somebody on this podcast did say that the Jaguars would be the AFC's number 1 seed before the season.
That has to be Clev.
No, it was me.
Really? Okay. Another one.
Just looking at their schedule and all that, and I thought, I didn't think I thought New England was good enough to keep Buffalo down, and the Chiefs were good enough to keep the Broncos down, but nobody in the AFC South was close to Jacksonville, so they could just roll up 6 wins right there, and they got the third place schedule or whatever, and they could kind of put it together and sneak the first round bye with a 13-4. But now they're going to be 13-4, probably still be the 3 seed.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it looked like the Colts was going to be the team that did that. Now, interesting stat here for the Colts or for Sauce Gardner: opens the season 1-7 for the Jets, closes the season 1-6 for the Colts.
So the Jets are getting a top 15 pick, right, or in that range for him this year.
Yeah. Now the truth is, Sauce Gardner has the first overall pick because he's 2-13.
Yeah, he does.
Sauce Gardner has
the heater Trevor Lawrence is on.
Yeah, he's playing great. Now, he didn't do that much throwing the ball in this game. He had very basic numbers. But he ran 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
Critical third down plays.
Yeah.
He's playing great. And it's funny, their run started the week after Clev declared him a bust. They haven't lost since. They have not lost the game since then. On this show, he's been saying it for a couple of years, but on this show, he's like, nope, that's it. I'm done with it. It's over. They literally have not lost since then.
Is this what it feels like when somebody talks badly about Drake May and then he becomes the MVP? This is fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time I got dunked on this hard about a take being so hilariously incorrect. I was with you with Josh Allen. I did say that Sammy Watkins was going to the Hall of Fame. Mike Evans would be a bust. I did say that Achilles Smith was the best quarterback in that draft. I'd rather draft my own grandmother than Donovan McNabb. No,
wow, that's bold.
I was 16 for that take. So
yeah,
a little bit but just so I had some bad ones. I'm trying to think of a more recent one because notice I wasn't on the Penn State National Championship this year.
Yeah,
wasn't buying that nonsense. I didn't predict that Sharon Moore was going to be brought down by floozies.
I don't know anybody who predicted that. Paul says he thought McCaffrey was going to be a relative bust.
Yeah, that's because you hate Stanford. I thought Christian McCaffrey was overdrafted where he was drafted. He was drafted 8th? I thought it was insane. I didn't think it was insane for Bijan there. I didn't think it was insane for Gentry there. I thought it was insane when Christian McCaffrey was taken there, and clearly it was because the Panthers didn't do anything with him. But it wasn't insane given his talent level.
Yeah.
Saints 34, Titans 26. This game doesn't matter except both quarterbacks have earned the right to be, I think, the clear-cut starters going into next season. For Cam Ward, that's not a shock. He was the first overall pick.
Yeah.
But it happens. But for Tyler Shuck, I think that he has earned the right to have this offseason treated as if he's the guy going forward. They don't go out to acquire a quarterback. They go out to acquire to help him going forward.
Undeniably, he has been really good.
Yeah,
he's an older player, but at that position, I think it's reasonable and it's good.
Yeah, and Cam Ward has been bad this season, but he has had a lot of plays where it's like, okay, I see it there. He reminds me a lot of Ashton Genty, where it's like, okay, you're having a bad season. I look at the game and I can kind of see why.
Yeah.
And yes, there's some mistakes you're making, but your primary targets are Chimere DK, Alec Iomanor, in Chigozie Okonkwo, and all three of those are actually real people.
Yeah. Why are they so hard to pronounce? That's terrible for me. I can't say Andrews or Edwards. I can't figure that out. What am I going to do with those guys?
Yeah, and the thing is that some of them aren't hard to pronounce. It's just that they're like Chimere DK could be pronounced so many different ways. One way that would get you in a lot of trouble, you know, that you just like, how do I do this? Alec is easy, but it could be Elic. And then Io Minor, it has a lot of different ways it can go, but Io Minor is not hard to say. It's just hard to learn which way to say it.
Yeah.
Chigozie Okonkwo is
never going to get it.
Easy. That's a tough one. And then he goes, "Oh, call me Chig," and I'm like, "Well, that's fine for me and Clev." I know that Scott's gonna be on board with that, because you get one Freudian slip, and now we're canceled. So I don't think that's gonna be happening there. And you can't just call him Okonkwo.
I'm just gonna call him Mr. Okonkwo.
Yeah.
Right? Is that fair?
Yeah, and if he was a really good player, you could call him CO, but nobody, like, you can't call him CO because we know who you're talking about. Like, you have to reference him, right? Yeah. In order to do that. Sorry, my cat's head on my notes. Let me move these here. Cardinals 14, Bengals 37. They're, the Cincinnati Bengals turn to the 92 Cowboys where there's nothing left to play for.
Yeah, they do.
Every year. Every year. So there's nothing left to play for. They're like, you know what? We're going to crush everybody.
Yeah. Is it time? Is Zach Taylor's time?
Yeah, it was his time almost 3 years ago. It's the same thing as the Dan Quinn thing in Washington. Like, Zach Taylor bought himself 3 extra years because of the Super Bowl.
Can the Lions go poach their offensive coordinator right now? Please and thank you.
I think I want Dan Campbell calling the plays.
Okay.
So long as Jared Goff is the quarterback, I think I want Dan Campbell or Ben Johnson calling the plays. I think there's a skill to be able to call plays with a average quarterback. And an average quarterback is a very good quarterback. It's an average quarterback is probably like a top 12 quarterback, but Shanahan with Purdy, O'Connell with literally everybody he's ever had, whoever is out in Seattle now with Darnold, like, I think there's a real skill to be able to do that. And I think anybody can call a good offense with Joe Burrow. I think it's a lot harder with Jared Goff, and Dan Campbell clearly can do it. So have Dan Campbell call the plays, fix the offensive line is the way I would go. But if not, that guy would be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine with either of it too. It's just with Goff, there's such a particular set of things that you have to do right for him. Because he's not athletic like the other dudes you mentioned. The other 3 guys you mentioned are all pretty damn athletic, and they can do things when things break down. Goff can't. So
yeah, and Goff is very similar, I think, in a way to Shedeur, in which Goff is either an A- or better, or a D+ or worse at everything.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's just he has more A- or betters than Shedeur does. Shedeur has like 3 A+, and then he's failing the rest of his classes.
Yeah.
Whereas Goff has more than that, but there's a couple things where, I mean, he's not the worst quarterback in the league under pressure, but that's only because so many rookies playing. Of the good quarterbacks, he's the worst one under pressure.
It's amazing too, because they've given up so much pressure this year, and he's had a remarkably good year to hide some of their offensive line stuff, because they're still one of the highest scoring teams. Yeah. But man, it just can be like, all right, it's the first drive, and you know which Jared Goff you're going to get this game. You already know.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Giants 34, Raiders 10. Now, this is a really well-earned victory here for the Raiders. And if you're confused why the Giants scored 24 more points but the Raiders won, this was a battle for the first overall pick, and the Raiders understood the assignment.
It wasn't a
Uh,
battle. The Raiders kicked the Giants' ass.
They did. They did. This was a
Yeah.
boat race for the Raiders to get this first overall pick. And it's huge for them as well because they're going to get to save a lot of capital, not having to compete with somebody else to trade up with the Giants for the first overall pick. Because if the Giants had it, they'd auction it off to the highest bidder because this class is going to be relatively deep in the top 10. So they'd be happy to trade down even to 7 if they had to. So I think the Giants screwed up by winning here quite a bit because they cost themselves a lot of capital. But it's also well-deserved for the Raiders because the Raiders are so bad. Like, the Raiders are the worst team.
They are just, it's amazing that they have some of the weapons that they do, that they've struggled as much as they have.
And Mark Davis is cheap.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a lot of money. I mean, relative to NFL owners, right?
Yeah.
His money is in owning the Raiders, kind of like the Bengals.
Yeah.
I need you to use whatever contacts you have to let him know that I will come in and be GM of the Raiders.
Give me 5 minutes, I'll call him.
For $750,000.
Will you hire me for $25,000? I'll come with you. I'll just pour your coffee for you.
I am bringing so many of my peoples in. Part of the reason I'm only doing it for $750,000 is I'm going to have a bunch of assistants on 100. So we'll add up to like 1.5. But I'm bringing in so many people in for this because what the Raiders need to do to fix their franchise is something that nobody who has spent their entire life working to get in that position is ever going to do because it's way too risky. They need to trade Ashton Genty and they need to trade Brock Bowers. They are almost at the peak of their value at positions that do not help you win football games on their own. Right? Like, if the Lions only had Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta, it would be a real problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't be. If they only had Jahmyr Gibbs and Brock Bowers, it would be a real problem.
Yeah.
So they need to move those ASAP because they can get so much because they still have time left on the rookie deal. So they can pick up the 5th-year options.
Yep.
And running backs have short shelf lives. They can get so much. Paul says, I can't afford him.
I think you can.
Power for conference degrees only.
Oh boy.
Now listen.
Oh my God.
Now listen. I know what you're saying. I already know what Paul's going to say. Didn't you go to Colorado State? And the answer is yes. But do as I say, not as I do.
You're running the show. You get to make the rules.
Also, as I think about it, I think I can't do that. I can't do that rule. I'd be cutting out too many of the people that I want. Oh, interesting.
Can you just say that you can't hire people from one particular school? Is that reasonable?
Yeah, but that's Ohio State. I can't have Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Two schools.
No. No, I could yeah. No, I'd get Paul in there. I'd get Paul in there for sure. I'd have you. I'd have Paul for sure. Who else am I bringing with me 100% for this?
I think I'd be losing a lot of money playing cards with you guys.
I don't think we'd have time.
Oh,
our job is to fix the Raiders. I don't think we have any time for this at all. There's a couple gambling people I'd want to bring in. And I think because we need to fix the offensive line. Hear me out. We need to fix the offensive line.
Yeah.
We need somebody who knows offensive line play, is willing to work for cheap, and would be very grateful to work for some balding 42-year-old who showed up out of nowhere. So we hire Sharon Moore as our offensive line scout.
I knew you were going to go there. Do we put a tether on him? Maybe that's already happened.
Yeah, I don't see what could go wrong bringing him to Vegas. Also, he may be in jail. But if not, I say we bring him in to be the offensive line scout. Yeah. But seriously, the only path forward for the Raiders that isn't another 7-year-long slog is to move on from Genty and Bowers this offseason. But it's a thing that nobody who has spent their life working to be GM of an NFL team is going to do. Like
so it sounds
they
like
won't
Brady
be able to get over like what they learned to get there.
So it sounds like Brady is going to be fully in charge of how this thing shakes out. He's going to draft Mendoza. He is.
Yeah, I would think so, because I think
Yeah.
Mendoza is his type of guy.
Yeah. The
yeah,
cerebral stuff. He
Yeah.
can figure it out. All that stuff.
Yeah. And then he will argue if we draft Mendoza, if Mendoza works out, having Genty and Bowers is great. And I understand that line of thinking, and that's why, like, yes, that's great. You know what else is great? Having Barry Sanders, having Calvin Johnson, having Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that are great, but it's not
they
about
all won nothing.
how you build games. Yeah. And it's not because they're not great. It's because they're great at the wrong positions for a bad team.
Yeah.
You know, they just now, not Max Crosby, unless you're trading for age. Like, he won't be good enough to help us in 2 years, 3 years when we're ready to go. You could trade him too, but that'd be the only reason to do that.
Yeah.
If instead of Ashton Genty, they had Malik Neighbors, and instead of Brock Bowers, they had Joe Alt, I'd be like, well, we're not trading either of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally their positions
that
are the reason. I think Brock Bowers is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I don't say this lightly, but nobody, and especially not Tom Brady, who has shown a severe lack of critical thinking skills at anything other than playing quarterback, is going to do what the Raiders need in order to get better here, like as fast as they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? If they draft Mendoza and Mendoza works out, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. Like, if Mendoza ends up being Drake May, the Raiders will be good in 3 years because Mendoza is good.
Yeah.
But they'd be even better if Mendoza was Drake May and they moved on from Bowers and Genty, got huge holes for them, and hit with those two at more important positions.
So I think you're hitting quickly. You're hitting onto a rant that some smart person could make in and around the stagnancy of sunk. What is that? The whole sunk cost fallacy kind of thing. Like, just because you took Genty in round 1 last year doesn't mean you're stuck there. You don't have to. You don't, like, you could move him.
Yes,
that's
and the other thing is
for you.
I don't think that it's sunk cost. I mean, I think it is sunk cost fallacy, but I don't think that most like official football people would see it that way, because they're like, he's on a rookie contract and he's really good at football. They're like, it's not a sunk cost. We did it. Like, we didn't lose, right? We didn't. It's not sunk cost. It's not Leonard Fournette. Like, this was a smash hit, right? Is how they would see it. So they wouldn't see it as being a sunk cost. I think it's a sunk cost because Ashton Genty's not going to help you win football games. He's the final piece.
Yes.
Not the starting piece.
Yes.
Right. You need Penei Sewell first. You need Amon-Ra first. Then you go get your Gibbs and your Laporta. So that's the reason for that. But the NFL guys would not think it's a sunk cost fallacy. They'd be like, no, trading them is insane. Like, these are two decisions we actually got correct. Why would we do this?
Because it's not helping you win.
Whereas as Lions fans, we realize, what if we had traded Calvin Johnson for as much as we could have gotten after the 2012 season, the season he set the record?
Yeah. You never know.
I mean, the amount we could have gotten for him would have been absolutely, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul, I think it's a good conversation. Paul says, I think the problem with trying to trade Genty and Bowers is finding trade partners to give you what they're actually worth. Yes and no. I think that's true because the Chiefs are in your own division and you can't trade Bowers to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs would give you 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Bowers tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you won't trade within the division. So you need somebody else. Now, somebody who I think would be willing to trade for what Genty is worth is the Eagles. Because I think they'd be like, we're going to run back the Saquon thing, but with somebody younger. And I think they might be willing to do it. As far as somebody else willing to trade for a tight end, that's like the best tight end ever. And that you
my
really
assumption is the Bears would go get Genty right now.
Yeah, they probably could because it's got a cap room, so they can go in free agency to get some more linemen or whatever they might need.
Sure. But he's
Yeah.
kind of like both those body styled, those, they like the slasher and the big body force miss tackle dudes.
Yeah.
He's that guy in one body.
Yeah, and the team who I think would give you what you want for Bowers is the Rams.
Yes.
Because they're losing Stafford, they're losing Devontae Adams, but you get Bowers and Puka as the mainstays on offense to help whoever the next quarterback is going to be there. They might be like, this is the way to go here. And we know Les Need is a fuck them picks guys. In fact, that was his quote, right?
Yeah.
Fuck the picks. So, yeah. I just think that their value is so obvious that while the Raiders might get exactly what they're worth in this moment, it would be worth it's still so much. It's so much, right? Which is what they need. The Raiders need even more than they're worth. So you still do it. You still move on from it. And that's such a hard sell to fans. It's hard. You're trying to sell season tickets and like you got rid of your two best, most exciting young players. I understand all the reasons why people would be against doing it, which is why you need somebody to come in from the outside who is the perfect combination of ball knowing, autistic, and insane.
Autistic. There is a push for there to be a, whatever you want to call this, an overseer. Let's just call it an overseer at this point in time.
Can we call it something else, please?
Sure.
And which plantation are we talking about here? The Raiders plantation or the Saints plantation or the?
We're talking about the concept of a guy to go into a locker room or a front office
and whip the players into shape.
No, and point out the very obvious blind spots that the front office is having.
Okay, so let's call this person a director of analytics.
Sure.
And not the overseer.
I said I didn't really know. I am a moron. We already know this. But this person goes into Allen Park and says, Mr. Holmes, you tend to like to draft players who are injured. You feel like you're getting a discount on said players. Those players end up staying hurt, and that hurts you long term. These are the things that you might want to talk about.
Right. Because the thing is too is because a lot of the people who do this aren't gamblers. They don't understand things like mixing up your styles. Right. Yeah. You can draft a player who's hurt because you get a good value on him. But if you do it all the time, you're gonna have too many hurt players. Right.
Yeah.
You can draft a wide receiver who's under 5'11".
Sure.
Once.
But you shouldn't do it 3 drafts in a row.
You can't build your entire offense out of 5'10" wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
You can draft an offensive lineman, an interior offensive lineman who's the 3-cone shuttle time is slower than it should be because they've got something else going. But you can't do it all the time. Like you have to stay within the heuristic a lot, but you can mix and match and do stuff because if you don't ever go outside what you're looking for, you would never get if you were like, I'm never drafting a person who's a character problem, you would never end up with Tyreek Hill. Right?
Yeah, you'd have problems drafting anybody, really.
Right. You would never draft Warren Sapp. You would never draft Randy Moss. Right. But if you drafted everybody who's a character problem, you'd have an entire team full of Jermaine Burtons.
Yes.
So you can't, you have to mix and match it both ways. So that's the problem is that when it doesn't matter what the pattern is, if you keep doing the same pattern over and over again, you're going to, the holes in your strategy will line up like Swiss cheese and the errors will go right through. Anybody who works in risk analysis will understand this as well, because risk analysis and gambling are very similar when you do them seriously. So yeah, you need to, and especially at the same position, don't draft injured players at the same position because you're getting a discount.
Yeah, or hey, you guys have shown a predisposition to dismiss defensive ends under the height of 6'4", and anybody weighing under 260 pounds, you've just canned. So you like this crush the can concept, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So maybe take somebody a little smaller and quicker. kind of thing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Whatever.
I think Brad Holmes is an incredible GM, and it doesn't just apply to him. It applies to pretty much everybody except for Howie Roseman, who's the only one who like you never really know what the Eagles are going to do. You know what position they're after. You don't know, like going into the draft, are they going to trade up? Are they going to trade down? Are they going to take the best available player? Are they going to take Jalen Hurts and they have Carson Wentz? Like, you don't really know what they're going to do because he's the best at doing this. Whereas even good GMs like Brad Holmes, they have the patterns that they fall into. The patterns stack up when they go wrong, and then you end up with a bunch of holes. Speaking of a bunch of holes, Eagles 13, Bills 12, holes in both offenses here. However, I'm going to say something here. I reserve the right because, of course, the next week is the show where we'll do this officially. I think the Eagles are gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Really? Again? Huh?
I do. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I do.
No fear of like San Francisco.
A fear of everyone.
They're going to have to run through.
Well, they're going to get
multiple.
They're going to get the 6th seed at home, so they're going to get like San Francisco and Philly, or the Rams and Philly, right? Because Green Bay will be the 7. So they'll get the 3rd place team in the West in Philly to start. Then they'll host the next round against somebody. And then they're going, but then they're going to Seattle. Well, as the 3 seed, they'd almost have to host the next round, right? Because there's 2 games.
Yeah, but one plays the lowest remaining seed.
Oh, so they could go to the 2 seed.
2 plays 3.
Fine. So then, but that's the thing. Like Green Bay would host Chicago, so maybe they either host the Packers or they go to the Bears. Are you really telling me the Eagles can't beat the Bears in the playoffs? Right. And then they go to Seattle, or they host the Rams. Like, I don't think we're asking too much for the Eagles here. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're built the exact right way to do this. And so they're, of all the teams, besides whatever team ends up with the bye, I think they're actually the best structured to make it through. Sadly.
Yeah.
However, I think it would be cool if their AFC opponent was like Jacksonville, because everybody in the world's rooting for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be kind of neat and interesting. The Bills, I mean, the Bills should be 15-2 and the number 1 seed in that conference. They like, what are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing. It's confusing. Because this should be the year where you would think that they would kind of roll through this.
The Bengals should fire Joe Brady and offer to match Mike McDaniel's Mike McDaniel's salary to go be the offensive coordinator.
I had that
take him right out of the division.
I had that conversation with some friends around. What does Dan Campbell do?
Yeah.
If Mike McDaniel becomes available, and it'd be like you would fly him here as soon as possible and not let him leave.
Yes. Yeah. No. He would get the full Jesus Shuttleworth treatment while he's here for sure.
Yeah.
Bears 38, 49ers 42. This game was absolutely insane. The game was tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. The first time that has ever happened in that NFL history.
Yeah. The Bears are terrifying. They just are. They're playing at a level that's remarkable and good. As a Lions fan, it's a bummer to say it, but I'm not such a Lions fan that I dismiss it. They're playing really well. They are.
Caleb Williams does some very frustrating things.
Mm-hmm.
But he does way less than he has previously.
Oh, he's
like they're getting further and further apart, and I'm terrified for 2 years from now when they're mostly gone.
Yeah, so that's the thing with him is he's gotten rid of some of his bigger issues so quickly, so fast with Ben Johnson that it's almost like I don't want to know what he looks like in the year 2027. I don't want to know. And Luther Burden looking the way he does, and Colston Loveland looking the way he does, which you and I anticipated. But, like, they're doing this with no Romo Duns.
Yeah, who they're going to get back for the playoff run. Yeah, absolutely crazy game there. But then, of course, the 49ers win the game.
Yeah.
To keep their number one seed hopes alive, because Rams 24, Falcons 27. The Rams have chosen the worst time to shit the bed. The absolute worst time to shit the bed.
Let's look through the logic of that. There's no good time to shit the bed.
But there are worse times. For example, the best time is in your own bed, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. The worst time to shit the bed is if you're taking a nap in your mother-in-law's bed.
That's a bad situation. Yes.
That's a bad time to shit the bed, right? So there are worse times than others, and this is a bad time. Over the last 2 weeks, they've lost the number one seed. They have lost the division. They hold the Rams' first-round pick this year. So putting another L on the Falcons is just good for the Rams, and they let the Falcons beat them. This was the worst time. Yes. Even if they had lost 2 games earlier and then won these 2 games instead, they'd be in the same record situation. But at least the Falcons would have another L.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year. Everybody's down. And you know what it is? It's karma. It's because Puka went on that podcast doing all that anti-Semitic shit with Aiden Ross, and it was a distraction. It was literally they thought no distractions. Coaches will ever play that.
Did you get what I was telling you about the Lions and the Tigers? Did you get that message I sent you?
And the Bears, oh my?
No, the Lions were doing really well until they played the Washington Commanders.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they did the Trump dance.
Yep.
And the Tigers did the Trump dance and followed that up with 3-13 record to end the season. I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah. I'll say it. If you align yourself with Trump, you're a loser. And so that's what happens. But
oh boy.
And the thing is, that Puka Nacua is 25. You can't be 25 and be like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what they were doing. Even if it's legit, even if that's the truth, you have to know better. And your team has to know better. You can't go on a live stream with Aiden Ross for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Poor choice.
And then to try to bring them into the facility before a big Thursday game, it was definitely a distraction for them that they're still trying to get over and get past and everything, which means once they do, they might start being the Rams again. But in the meantime, they've cost themselves home field advantage, first round bye, division, and an even better draft pick by giving the Falcons another L.
Yeah.
There. Bonchon Robinson in this game, 22 carries, 195 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 catches, 34 yards, and another touchdown.
Stud. He had the 93, 97-yard, whatever it was, touchdown run. Incredible.
Yeah. You actually got up to go to the bathroom for that drive because I was like, oh, it's under 2 minutes. They're by the goal line. Nothing's going to happen. I come back. It's 21-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
So now, very quickly here.
Wait a minute. You got up to go to the bathroom and then you stayed in the bathroom until halftime?
Well, it was the end of the series. It was the end of the quarter.
I thought you forget it.
Yeah. No. It was the end of the quarter. So I was like, oh, I'll get up now because whatever. And, nothing's going to happen here. I come back and Bijan rip off a 93-yard touchdown that I didn't see. So quickly here, the schedule for the upcoming week, because this is obviously there's some real important games here. So Saturday's doubleheader is going to be very, very good. Panthers at Bucks. Winner wins the division and goes to the playoffs. Loser is out. I think if they tie and the Falcons win, the Falcons can win the division.
Yes. Yeah. There's some weird thing in and around how that. Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy.
That would be pretty. That's what I'm rooting for, actually. And then Seahawks 49ers. Winner. Let's see. I have it here. If the Seahawks win to secure the bye, 49ers win to secure the bye. They're playing for the division, the number 1 seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So Saturday is going to be huge. Let's see. Colts at Texans. The Texans can win the division with a win and a Jacksonville loss. Oh boy. Tech lording. 1 second. The Browns and Bengals, nobody cares. Saints and Falcons, both teams will be going all out because the Falcons. Oh, I guess could you imagine if the Panthers and Bucks tie on Saturday and the Falcons are a win-in situation against the Saints at home?
Amazing.
That would be phenomenal.
It
But
really
the Saints are going all out no matter what.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Falcons will too because they don't hold their own first-round pick, so they might as well.
Yeah. Yep. No reason not to.
Packers at Vikings. The Packers are pretty much locked into the 7th seed. I think I wouldn't be shocked if they rested all their guys. Titans at Jaguars. Jaguars are win and they win the division, so they'll be going for it. Cowboys at Giants. Literally nobody cares. I kind of want the Giants to win just to continue screwing up their draft pick and to make him a fun year for like the Cowboys. But nothing matters there. Cardinals at Rams. The Rams need to win for seeding purposes. Chiefs at Raiders. Nobody cares. Raiders do need to lose to ensure they get the number 1 seed, though. Commanders at Eagles. Can the Eagles improve their position? They'll either be the 2 or the 3 seed. That may not matter to them, so the Eagles may take it relatively easy in their game. Dolphins at Patriots. Patriots win. Broncos loss. The Patriots are the 1 seed, so Patriots will be going for it because the Broncos play the Chargers at the same time.
Yep.
The Chargers, however, don't have hardly anything to play for. So
I think they've already stated that Herbert's sitting this week.
Yes. Yep.
So
Lions at Bears. This matters for the Bears. The Bears must win to secure the 2 seed.
Yeah.
That's good because the Lions need to win to secure that good schedule, or need to lose to secure that good schedule. So,
and draft capital and that kind of stuff too. But yes, it's the schedule. It's next year's schedule.
Although the Lions will be in a good position no matter where they are to draft the best interior offensive lineman in the class. So,
the problem is I don't know that there is one right in and around where they're going to be picking.
Well, then they could trade down, but we're early enough to where whether they win this game or not, they can maneuver to get the Tyler Linderbaum or the Gray Zabel or whoever.
You back up the truck to Linderbaum's house and you fill it. You keep filling it up with cash until he says yes.
Yep,
and you don't leave. And then you take a defensive end with pick 15.
Okay, fair enough. We have the Chargers at the Broncos. Again, Broncos need to win to secure the number 1 overall seed. Jets at Bills. Are the Bills playing for anything? Because this could be hilarious. The Bills can't get higher than the 5 seed, but I bet they want it. I bet they want to go to AFC North.
The Bills would love to travel to Baltimore or Pittsburgh in round 1.
Yeah, so they'll be going for it. And then Sunday night, Ravens Steelers win and in.
Yeah. When does Seattle and San Francisco play?
They play Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a crazy, crazy good weekend this weekend.
We'll
with lots of good football
to
action.
Detail out all of our predictions for, playoffs and stuff.
Yeah, next week we'll be talking about the playoff predictions when we have the bracket and all that. Also, we got the college playoffs still going here, which I'm not going to lie, I haven't been paying as much attention to because has Michigan anything going on? Like, has there been going on with the University? Just in general, the University of Michigan football program, has there been anything?
So they hired Whittingham, which is, I'll tell you a story later on. It's the craziest Freudian slip ever. I was trying to say Kenny Dillingham to a friend, and I couldn't say it. And you've been a part of this in the past. And I kept on saying Whittingham. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I kept on saying Whittingham, trying to say Dillingham. Yeah. And ironically, it ended up being Whittingham. Phenomenal coach. Great coach, perfect for what they need right now, but also bold with their offense. They were like the number 3 scoring team in college football last year. The way they spread stuff around, they run out of a spread. There's nothing old school dinosaur-y about what they do.
But they run.
They run, but everything's done out of a spread.
I don't care as long as they run.
They run. They run the ball very effectively, but what happens is it opens up lots of things for the quarterback to push the ball down the field and all over the place. Yeah. So I think that if you're Bryce Underwood and you're looking at what their offense does, and Jason Beck did come, you'd have to be very happy to play in that offense. You
Yeah,
just
and they kept Tony Alford on staff.
They did.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
New defensive coordinator coming from BYU, which is good. Getting rid of Wink Martindale is
it's a perfect hire. He's from BYU. Perfect.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better. And then you draw in a bunch of these kids from the Pacific Rim into Ann Arbor. It's perfect.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is that Michigan actually has a Tier 5 pipeline of the video game from Hawaii because we always have one or two Hawaiians.
Yeah.
And Pacific Islanders on the team, including now we have Panay Sewell's cousin already and Micah Kapana and a couple others. And Roman Wilson, of course, is from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar? Last thing before we get out of here, I promise. Are you familiar with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City?
No.
Okay.
No.
You should watch the first 2 seasons. Absolute cinema.
Okay.
Like it doesn't matter if the Real Housewives aren't your thing. Like the first 2 seasons are absolute cinema. They're the best of anything like that besides Atlanta. But Atlanta, if black culture is not your culture, it might not hit quite the same way. But Salt Lake City, everybody, it's absolute cinema. So
one of my scouting people that I go to for information, a family member was affiliated with Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I have heard some stories.
Yes, because my favorite cast member on there a long time ago was married to Cordell Stewart. So, when the show started, so one of the housewives of Salt Lake City is in prison right now for fraud. Season 1, she's describing her business. Season 2, she gets arrested and charged with fraud. She's married. She's married to the defensive backs coach for University of Utah.
Okay.
Who is not coming to Ann Arbor. And I think I know why.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it. Paul, Liam, Jake in the chat. Thank you so much. Everybody else for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that. We'll be back next week. Playoff preview, playoff predictions, official Super Bowl predictions, the entire thing. Everybody, peace.